Okay, and welcome back to another tutorial by Kui. So today I'm gonna show you how to render in Blender with DeFi render. Have you heard about DeFi render? It's a kind of new render engine that can render pretty fast, almost like real time. DeFi is currently free at this moment, and you can download at defirender.com. So just hit download and it will immediately download the software. So this is the interface of DeFi render. Maybe it requires you to check your computer performance first. So you can see is the first one is home, open recent, create new, and open project. So to use with Blender, I have the scenes here. It's called Love Diego. You can get it in my Gumroad if you want, or use my previous Astrid scenes. I have a tutorial about it in the Astrid tutorial series. One more thing that I'm gonna do is download the DeFi render add-on. So it's basically the new add-on that allows you to convert from Blender to DeFi. So just go to the DeFi render on Facebook, and it's really right here. So it's on the DeFi forum. Just go and download it. It's free. So I also will give a links for you. So you have the add-on here, and then go to Blender, edit preferences, and install that add-on. Okay, install this one, and then you have DeFi export. Okay, so in this file you can have the export DeFi. The extension is DeFi-A. You hit export and you choose Love Diego as I have here. You can have some options here. It will allow you to set the texture size or export selected, back group nodes, or debug mode, which I not using at the moment. So basically I'm just export it, and I think texture size can be up to 142K, and export and wait for a while it's packing up the material nodes and texture, and we'll pack into the DeFi extension file. So my experience with DeFi is pretty good with this particular scenes. When the exporter do its job to convert the cycles or EV material to DeFi native material. So DeFi now supporting the RTX card, which will increase the render speed more than no more GTX card. Oh, it seems like it's done. And the quality of DeFi I think is pretty good, due to some demos and some my experience as well. Okay, as you can see, the quality of DeFi is pretty good, pretty realistic. Yeah, and yeah, I can see some famous scenes here that was recreate in DeFi, and yeah, maybe that's it. I see more in YouTube videos. I'm gonna hit create new project. This is not the right one. I'm gonna go to the personal, and then so DeFi render is support this file SketchUp, FPS, and D5A, which is the one that we already exported. And I'm gonna hit open, and then wait a little bit to load the project, and I think it's pretty fast, and now it's loaded. Okay, let's take some look. So first is the navigating and the interface, and I'm gonna say something about this. So we have here is the menu bar. You can have something here, and this is the toolbar. We have the light here, and the sidebar here. First we have the options about lighting and HDRI, and then the filter like color correction or the tone mapping. The third is the view mode. We have perspective, we have 2-point perspective, we have the lens, the field of view, and then we have the list, which the file that we imported, and the scene list. As in SketchUp, if you are familiar with SketchUp, you can have some scenes here that represent the camera. Okay, in the side you have the preview quality. I'm having the high quality here since the D5 is supporting the RTX card, and if you have lower card, you just use the middle quality or low quality. So in the render we have photo, panorama, and video. So another important thing is the 3D view and the walk view. 3D view is just you navigating by right click to rotate and scroll the mouse wheel to zoom in, but it's not so handful, so I'm gonna use the walk view, which you can use the view ISD to move around like this, and use the right mouse button to navigate the view. So all the material is loaded in D5, and you can see it's pretty accurate. Since this one is too glossy, but I will fix that. And the glass material, as I said, is not correctly. We will fix that too. And the rest, I think the rest is okay. So let's go to the material setting. So first we have this one is the sofa, and the material is fabric. So we have the pop-up menu here, just tell us about the information of map, which means texture, color, and UV. So first is the map. You have the texture are already loaded in here. You can choose the roughness if you have one. Here I have the roughness fabric here. I will add to the channel. First I'm gonna choose the material template from custom to cloth. Basically what's done is it will add another channel, is the fall off, and you can see it here. The fall off is quite hard here, so I think this material is good. And the floor, I needed, I think this one is pretty good still. It also have some imperfections, which is nice. Okay, and the metal here, you can see it's pretty glossy here, so maybe I will change the specular down like so and change the glossiness. So it depends on the texture that we have here. I can remove it, and then we just changing the roughness. And when you want to take the roughness back, just add to this one and choose the texture, metal, cast iron, glossy. Oh, it makes sense because it's glossy. So I'm gonna invert it by clicking this button. Now I'm changing the effect of the texture, the roughness texture. I think this one is okay. Okay, the marble is really good. The redness maybe a little lower, and then you can see the reflections. The wood material is maybe needs some more roughness, so I'm gonna increase this one. Okay, I think this is good, and this is quite good, quite glossy as I want. This one actually is the aluminum. I'm gonna choose the metal, bring on the metalness, and the texture, no texture. I'm going to go to the color. Now the value is quite low. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit like so, And then for specular, leave it at that. Roughness, I'm gonna put it pretty low, like so. I think this is good. And for the length here, I have this is white gloss. I have the color, the value color is bring is up, and the light color I'm gonna choose to okay, custom. I'm gonna choose the light intensity and brings up the light, but not too much because it's actually casting light, not just emissive color. So I'm gonna choose something like this and see if it's too bright. You can also input the value here. Okay, I think all the material is quite good now. So this one is metallic down, roughness down, specular up for this one. Okay, maybe this bird, this metal. Okay, the next is the glass material, which is pretty easy. So glass material is basically from the transparent glass, and then I'm going to choose the refraction up, the roughness down, the specular up, so you see some reflections here, and it's pretty dark, so I'm gonna choose the color and bring up the value. Okay, it's look like glass now. Transparency, I'm gonna bring it nearly 1, maybe 0.95, so it's quite clear. If you're familiar with first-person shooter games or Unreal Engine, you can easily navigate with this WASD key. So the next thing is I'm gonna change the light of environment. So first is I want to change this HDRI. Go to the outdoor and you can change some of the HDRI here, or you can open your own. I noticed the HDRI is mostly come from HDR Heaven, which is free, obviously. So it supports a lot, so many kinds of HDRI. I think it's pretty good for many light condition, like indoor or sunny day or night, in the forest, on cloudy day or in the morning. I think this one is pretty good for this situation. So the next thing is the sunlight. I'm gonna bring up the sun intensity, and you can see you cannot see anything yet because the so in radiation angle is something off. Yeah, here. So you can see the light is actually cast into our interior, and it's basically good. So I'm gonna decrease the amount of the sun intensity a little bit, and the sky intensity I'm also bring it down. When I bring it down, you can see the indirect lighting or the shadow area is darker, and when it's 1, it's tend to be brighter. And the color temperature you can choose for the outside. So you can also rotate the HDRI if you want, but in this case I'm not seeing the outside much, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And then I'm gonna decrease the sun intensity a little bit more. Okay, so you can change the temperature of the sunlight as well. Next, I'm gonna add some artificial lights, which is the spotlight here, and some for the kitchen, and some for the spotlight here. So first, I'm gonna choose the spotlight tool here. I'm gonna click on it, and then I'm gonna place it here. So in this one, you can also choose the IES file for the spotlight, or use some template here. I think this one is pretty good, but I'm gonna change the brightness down a little bit. I think so. And for the color, I'm gonna choose the temperature to something warm color like this. In this option, you can have the option of fall-off distance, which means the affect radius of the spotlight. If you change to 0, it will affect nothing. So it's slowly increased until it hit the point here. Okay, I'm gonna copy it into this one. So I'm gonna duplicate it with Ctrl D or this button. Then I'm gonna place it here. Then I'm gonna rotate it by 90 degree up. So you can see it says 180 degree. I'm gonna put it here. And then I'm gonna choose both and duplicate, and then I'm gonna move to the other side. Yeah, next is the spotlight. Choose and click here. I think the brightness is too much. Maybe like this one. I'm gonna choose this IS, and like the other, I'm gonna choose the color a little warm like that. I'm gonna duplicate it and put it here. And I have two strip lights here, one here and one on the top of the kitchen cabinet. I'm gonna choose the strip light tool here. Then I'm gonna rotate it 90 degree, and I'm gonna move it up a little here. Okay, then this color should be yellow too. Then I'm gonna copy it, duplicate and put it here. So I'm gonna choose the size. It's at the X and Y size, so I'm gonna choose the increase the X size to something like this to fit with the cabinet here. And I'm gonna rotate it by 90 degrees so it will point up instead of pointing down, like so. Then I'm gonna move to the top of the cabinet and also decrease the brightness a little bit and the color to warm yellow color. So increase the brightness, and this one I will decrease the brightness a little bit. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's for the lighting. Let's have a test render. So first we're gonna add a camera, right? So the camera is not working like Blender. You have to choose the view first. To do that, you go to the camera tab and choose the field of view or the lens height, which means the view that you have here. If I choose this view, I'm gonna choose the view mode to 2-point perspective, so the vertical lines will straight and parallel to each other. Then I'm gonna choose the field of view up so I can get more of the view, or I can move it backward and have some camera clipping to clip the plane. As you can see, then now I'm clipping through the wall, and choose the 2-point perspective. I think this view is okay. It's quite good. So I'm gonna go to the list and add unscenes by the plus button. And by this one, when you navigate and you want to render a scene, then you can just click on the scene and then your camera will go to that scene. This can work with animation too. If you want to move in this point to something like this one, you can add another scene and it will transition from this scenes to this position. But it will in another video. This one I'm gonna render a static image first. Notice that the this one is too black. Right now I'm gonna have some spotlight to light up the dark. Like so. It's much better. Okay, now for the final part, it is color adjustment. In this option you have the exposure, which means the brightness of the scenes, yeah, and you have the contrast, so the highlight would control the highlight of the image here, and the shadow, which means the black areas here. I'm gonna drag it down so the shadow detail will appear, and then this one will be washed out. I'm gonna increase the contrast a little bit and increase the highlight a little bit. So this one is basically change the just like the contrast, and this one also allow you to use the lookup table LUT here, and you can open the LUT here. It has some presets for you. I'm gonna disable it. I think this is good. In the more you have the color temperature, more cool or more warm. The glow feature, which I think is not necessary in this moment. Saturation, I think that's good. I'm gonna bring up some saturation for the sofa. Okay, stylization. You have the option to render the clay model or not. Volumetric light, fog density. When you brings it up, it will be foggy, and scattering, just like the fall off of the fog. So just hit render, right? Render, you're gonna choose the panorama or the video. I'm just gonna choose the photo, and then you have the field of view. You make sure you want to capture this view. You want the scale. Actually, this one is the ratio of your image. I usually use 16:9, and the size maybe 2K. And export channel graph, which means you can export many passes of your render. Okay, I'm gonna hit export and choose the location for the image. I'm gonna check text file and hit enter. Then it's rendering. So it's not like real time. It's not like boop and you have an image. No, it's kind of calculate based on your scenes. If your scene is more complex, it will calculate more, but the speed is very high speed. So when you done rendering, you can open the photo, click open, and test 2 is the one that we rendered, and ta-da, you can see the difference between the final render and the preview. You can tell the difference, right? So the render view is much more higher detail. It's in 2K and it's more contrast. The detail is more visible. And I think if I render 4K, it will even better. But the result is pretty good, right? For that amount of time. So what do you think? Is it easy? DeFi render, free and easy to set up, easy to export from Blender? Please let me know in the comment below. So another thing is I'm gonna introduce you into with D5 is the latest version of D5 already have the access, which is the library of materials of models, which is free too. So I'm gonna hop into some material here. You know, my internet connection is not very good, so if you want to apply any material, just gonna hit download button here, and then just click on the material, then assign to whichever you want. In this case, I'm gonna assign to this sofa, and wait a second. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. This one is for curtain, so that's why it's transparent here. So I'm gonna hit escape, and I'm gonna change the opacity to 1 here, and you can see, sorry, I'm gonna change the clip into 0, and you can see the texture of the fabric here. Now it's too small, so I'm gonna do the UV, and then I wanna crank it down a little bit, and you can see the type of the texture is changing. So I'm gonna change it to 1, and this is pretty good. Yeah, so enough for the material. You can have the model here or the access of your own. So the model, you can have some 3 models, which is really handy for larger scenes or exterior scenes. Yeah, basically all the model here is outdoor models like conifer, palm cluster, grass, flower, car, bus, truck, man or woman. Yeah, man and woman can be interior too, I know, but mostly is the outdoor model. Yeah, it's basically it. And what do you think about DeFi render and this add-on? Is it handy to use? And it's pretty fast, right? Let me know what you think in the comment below. Do you think that I need to do more tutorial about DeFi with Blender? So let me know too, and keep in touch. Bye bye.